The Jewish story. This week's story from the Holocaust is taken from the book Lessons of the Holocaust, written by Michael Marrus. Tellingly, survivors are notoriously unable to agree among themselves just what their experiences taught them, and what lessons might be drawn from what they endured. Moreover, they sometimes even disagree on whether they learned anything at all from their experiences. A striking case in point is that of the two most perceptive witnesses to emerge from the Holocaust, both of whom seem to have been consumed by their dreadful experiences in German camps, and whose lives both ended tragically, likely by suicide in the first case, and certainly so in the second. The first is Primo Levi, the great Italian writer who suffered almost a year in Auschwitz and whose accounts carry unmistakable authority. And the second is the essayist John Emery, an Austrian Jew born Hans Chaim Meyer, who survived Auschwitz, Buchenwald and Bergen-Belsen, and whose meditations on his torture, which he describes unforgettably, are among the most arresting of his writings. A chemist by profession, and known for his spare, precise prose, Levi wrote of how much he learned in the lager as he encapsulated his camp experience. The lager was a university, he wrote. It taught us to look around and to measure men. Levi has much to say about what he learned, about how men adapt or fail to adapt, about what was the impact of their culture and learning, and what qualities of spirit might have preserved some from utter despair. Emery had a different opinion. He said, "We did not become wiser in Auschwitz, if by wisdom one understands positive knowledge of the world. We perceived nothing there that we would not already have been able to perceive on the outside. Not a bit of it brought us practical guidance. In the camp too, we did not become deeper, if that calamitous depth is at all a definable intellectual quality. It goes without saying, I believe, that in Auschwitz we did not become better, more human, more humane, and more mature ethically. You do not observe dehumanized man committing his deeds and misdeeds without having all your notions of inherent human dignity placed in doubt. We emerged from the camp stripped, robbed, emptied out, disoriented, and it was a long time before we were able even to learn the language of freedom." This contrast may be repeated over and over again with any number of writers. For Elie Wiesel's survivors bear witness. Having experienced Auschwitz, he presents himself as a teacher, relaying something critical but ineffable, what he once called the fall of mankind and the eclipse of the gods. But for Elie Pfefferkorn, who was at Majdanek, what he has to relay is terrifyingly banal. Camp was mainstream, only at a terrible extreme. And so it goes for practically any pairing of Holocaust survivors on any number of issues one might think of. Survivors are often the first to debunk the authority of other survivors. Survivors of the Holocaust sometimes become exceptionally anxious when they hear historians talk about episodes that they themselves lived. Such anxiety, notes the French historian Annette Vivoca, represent a fear that it is not exclusive to survivors of the genocide, that of being dispossessed of one's history by someone outside the experience who claims to be telling it. At the same time, many are discomforted when people expect messages from them about the meaning of what they have endured. Aaron Appenfeld, one of Israel's foremost writers, is particularly insistent on refusing to extract the lessons from his wartime Holocaust experiences. The Holocaust belongs to the type of enormous experience which reduces one to silence. Any utterance, any statement, any answer is tiny, meaningless, and occasionally ridiculous, he once told Philip Roth. Even the greatest of answers seems petty. Please pass on these words.